Hi everyone. So after a few failed attempts while streaming, I finished the Ancient Gods Part 2, or Tag 2, on Ultra Nightmare last night, and luckily I was recording the gameplay. So I wanted to upload that, and I also rewatched it myself to add some commentary and strategy tips aimed at other controller or console players who are considering trying this DLC on Ultra Nightmare. This is mostly for people like me who don't feel like FPS experts, but still like to push themselves in Doom Eternal. If that sounds like you, I will say that with the game in its current state after Update 5.0, Tag 2 is a great place to jump into Ultra Nightmare if you're someone who enjoys playing the game on Nightmare or Extra Life mode, but you haven't yet made the jump to the permadeath threat of Ultra Nightmare. It's a lot shorter than the main game, obviously, and it doesn't have the same difficulty spikes that you see in Tag 1 or the Super Gore Nest Master level. I also found that playing this DLC on Ultra Nightmare gave me a renewed appreciation for it. It forced me to be a lot more careful than in my initial playthroughs, but I also felt that it allowed more freedom than, say, the Super Gore Nest Master level. I didn't feel like I had to memorize too many enemy spawns or try too hard to optimize my BFG usage or anything like that. Also, the hammer opens up a lot of possibilities in terms of how you choose to incorporate it into your combat loop. I personally use it somewhat sparingly because some of my first few Ultra Nightmare attempts ended while I was in the middle of a hammer swing animation, since that doesn't give you any invincibility frames, and that left a mark. This is still more of a playthrough than a super detailed strategy guide. I won't be talking the whole time, and some of this DLC doesn't really need detailed strategy anyway, but I will certainly try to give advice on all the sections I thought posed a major threat on Ultra Nightmare, as well as some general tips. So if there's any part of the DLC that's giving you trouble, hopefully if you skip to that section of the video, you might find something helpful. There's also bound to be a few shitty jokes. A quick note, I play on an Xbox-type controller with two paddle buttons on the bottom mapped to jump and dash. It helps me with more fluid movement, but I have played the game on a base Xbox controller, and I don't find it to be hugely inconvenient. I'm just super used to the paddles by now, and I love them. I'll also note that I play on a PC with the frame rate capped at 60 frames per second, so there shouldn't be much difference from console play. With that said, if you've yet to try or finish Tag 2 on Ultra Nightmare, I hope this video helps you. Or if you like to watch gameplay of someone who can play this game on Ultra Nightmare but just barely survive it, then you're in the right place as well. And of course, if you have any suggestions for similar videos you'd want to see, or if you just want to harshly critique my playstyle, let me know in the comments, and let's start the playthrough. This Ultra Nightmare run begins, as all good Ultra Nightmare runs do, by restarting from a painful death on a later level. So if you get the sense that I'm playing while not in the best mood, or that the gameplay is just generally shit for the first several minutes of this run, that would be the reason why.
To gain passage to Immora, you must power the gate of the room with the Wraith's crystal and pass through to where the Dark Lord resides. It is waiting for you.
Almost right away, you're going to be faced with probably the hardest part of Ancient Gods Part 2 on Ultra Nightmare, which is remembering that your runes have just been reset. So you're going to want to put on air control probably. I like blood fueled. Savagery I'll be using for a lot of the run. That's more just for fun. And that weak point breaking support rune is a good one. Also, get your weapon mods that you like equipped. So a lot of the combat in this first level is pretty straightforward, and I won't be talking too much unless I have something to add or something funny to say. For the armored barons, you can really take them out with just one breaking of the armor. One thing that helps me do that is using the dash bash. I think that's what it's called, with the chain gun energy shield. So when you dash with that energy shield, it doesn't just stagger them, it actually does a little bit of damage. So that can help you a lot in terms of taking them out in just one cycle of removing the armor. Again, you can see that dashing speeds up the damage. That's the only time I think you'll see that cool meat hook to quick scope move. Okay, here I took a break to see if I could get on top of that awning, because I had just seen a video earlier in the day with someone doing a skip from that awning, but I couldn't remember how to get up there. I didn't have a lot of faith in this run, so I think I'm goofing off a lot in this level. Missing that one ballista shot threw off my whole rhythm in this room, so this is kind of terrible gameplay, but it ended up working okay. first Screecher doesn't really do anything except buff random zombies. There's no reason not to kill it. Okay, so usually that BFG shot, once I see a Mancubus, just takes out all the remaining enemies. But I guess I was doing a bad job in this fight, and some of them hadn't spawned in yet, so it didn't really do its job. I don't think my BFG shots in this run are exactly optimized. There's only a few that I feel like are really used well, but I try to use all the BFG ammo. That's the most satisfying part of the entire run. I almost forgot to pick up the quad damage.
Detecting an energy signature from Commander Valen.
My son's curse has been lifted, and I atone.
You can see the first of many instances of the hammer not stunning anything for some reason. And me going down to low health after. I would say that in this run I use the hammer pretty sparingly, and that is the main reason why I find it to be kind of sometimes overpowered and also sometimes very unreliable. So yep, like, no effect on the Hell Knight there. He just keeps trucking. So here you can see something unfortunate. And now I have a possessed tyrant to deal with. This is the only run that that's happened to me in. And I did not feel this run was going very well at this point. I don't think my combat is looking very good, but like I said, I was in kind of a bad mood, okay? That Immora death hurt because it was the second time I died in that arena on Ultra Nightmare. Anyway, with the possessed tyrant, yeah, he's not that bad. Just don't rush him. I just kind of move around a bunch and farm resources from the surrounding guys, peripheral fodder. His ground attack's a little scary though. So yeah, this slowed this fight down a lot. This can go much faster if the tyrant does not get possessed. Here I see he's almost dead, so you can always use the microwave beam to stun the possessed enemies, but also to kind of check on their health gauge. That's an actually good tip. Other than that, don't do any of this. So first time we see the stone imps, not only can you take them out with auto shotgun, but as many people already know, you can use the chain gun shield and dash into them, which I will also be doing. So here we go. Yeah, that kills them instantly. And this is not a bug or anything like that. I think it's actually hinted at in their codex entry. Sort of subtly. And it's really fun to take them out that way, as you can see. The hammer is more fun, but they're kind of a little difficult to get glory kills on. So I usually run out of hammer ammo right away. Okay, here's the absolute highlight of the run. I try to make it up to that sentinel armor, and I get stuck in the geo. This is top quality gameplay. Can he make it out? So, will I have to reset? What do you think? Nope, I made it out the exact same way I made it in. And here you can see what I was trying to do, which is use a ballista shot to get a little extra height and jump up to that little room with the sentinel armor in a way that is not intended. Or at least, I mean, it's not the main intended way. I'm sure id Software knows that you can do that. That's the Torch of Kings. Now we've made it to the snowy mountain section. This fight's just pretty fun. I don't think I really have anything to say about it. Using the shield dash to take out imps again. I don't know why that didn't work. Again, the chain gun shield dash is just OP in this DLC. It can both instantly kill the stone imps and really helps against the armored barons, I think. Because if you can get close to them and dash into them like that, it makes your damage output a little closer to what it would be with the mobile turret, except that you have the protection of the shield, which is, I mean, just super overpowered. Of course, that doesn't work very well if there's a lot of enemies kind of hammering you, but if you freeze the things around you, you should be able to get some dash smashes in. And also, the funny thing with the armored barons is you only ever see them one at a time, so they're usually pretty easy to isolate and get that chain gun dash hit on them. Here, for some reason, I thought it would be a good time to use the Equipment Fiend rune. It is a really good rune if you're thinking of killing a lot of enemies with grenades. Because when you kill a lot of enemies with a frag grenade, it comes back quite fast with the Equipment rune, the Equipment Fiend rune. But this is a fun rune, a fun room, right? You're just punching pinkies. Shouldn't be a challenge. In general, the Equipment Fiend rune might be a little more useful in this DLC. I do use my equipment a lot always, but I don't know. I find the Savagery rune to be just quite fun. So you can see I change back to it here. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, Savagery. Yeah, I'm sure probably everyone knows this, but for the Cyber Mancubus, if you hit them with the super shotgun pretty close up while you're meat hooking into them, that will generally falter them, so you'll have a moment to get that blood punch in where you're not going to be hit by their AoE effects or anything. Okay, I use a BFG here, but this is just kind of for the sake of convenience. There's only a few BFGs that I've put much thought into using in this DLC. I'll point them out. The rest are just sort of like, I know I have an extra BFG to burn, so I might as well use it. The arena fights in this DLC, not the hardest, but they can get a bit claustrophobic. They're not wide open arenas like some of the ones in the last DLC, so be sure to stay on the move and don't let too many enemies gang up on you. I will mention, since I just saw a lot of meat hook glory kills, that savagery is not just for fun and getting your glory kills in quickly, but it actually increases the fraction of glory kills that will give you armor if you meat hook into them, because when you meat hook, an enemy is basically briefly on fire. I know Under the Mayo has a video that kind of explains that. Basically, some of the glory kills are too slow to give you armor otherwise without the savagery rune. And I think this is the only time where I don't manage to take out an armored Baron in one cycle. Always forget that you have to move over there to start this fight. The Bloodmakers, of course, in this DLC, they've been toned down a little bit. They have a longer period in which they're vulnerable when they attack, especially right before they start the attack. And by the way, be sure to take out those Prowlers as soon as they spawn, if you can. If the Bloodmaker starts attacking you and those Prowlers are still on the board, it can be a real hassle. They don't respawn in. Also with the Bloodmakers, you can use the hammer. So when they make the sound and they start their attacks, they're vulnerable and you can hammer them to daze them during that time. You can also be a schmuck like this and just pick up some extra armor, because these floating armor shards just regenerate endlessly. The dash smash also helps against the regular Barons, of course. If you have a ice bomb, it's really easy to take them out with the energy shield mod if you throw in some dashes at them. And if you don't, even with frag grenades, you can generally get them into kind of a stun lock. You only have like a second to use that meat hook point to get up there, so do it fast.
Not even Urdak gave off.
Otherwise you have to go around. Okay, so combat is over. Now it's just fun, wacky puzzles in this really cool geode thing. You'd have to be an idiot to, you know, screw up jumping puzzles like this. But I'm gonna speed this part up because I screw this up more than once. So let's just go past this. When you're done with the final boss of this level, which is this incredibly challenging jump puzzle for expert players only, then you can always go pick up an extra BFG ammo if you're one short of full. I pick up a hammer too.
I have the location. The gate of Davoom, locked in.
They always say got the location locked in sci-fi. I should say that when I'm like using Google Maps. I have the location. IKEA locked in.
This is the only way into the most ancient part of hell. The Dark Lord will be there waiting for you.
All right, level 2. Right away, kill the green guy. Always kill the green guys. I actually do not get cursed in this run, which is not a sign of my overall luck in Ultra Nightmare. I was cursed in multiple runs that I made it to Immora 2 times before this run, I think.
Caution.
And in both of those, I was cursed at some point.
Save and exit your work.
It's not fun. But it's survivable. By the way, with the curse, do note that you can still meat hook other enemies. So for me, if I get cursed, I basically meat hook around off of things that aren't a green prowler, and then use the chain gun shield as much as possible. Okay, as soon as I see those things spawn, I know there's a cursed prowler that spawns with them, and that's the main reason why I use the BFG. Guaranteed curse-free fight. Where did that guy come from?
need to find a way to activate the power in this part of the city.
I don't know why you need to activate the power here. You just punch that train. It's not really necessary to have power if you're just gonna punch a train. All it does is make the floor electric. It's not helpful at all. Yes, if you can remember to move slightly, the, what are these guys officially called? The chain gunners. I don't remember their real name. They're not too bad. This blood maker can be a pain. Especially if you miss like that. So I just kind of hide. I don't know what that meat hook misfire was. I was feeling the pressure after that. But there we go. Here, I'm feeling like I want to replenish my armor. Alright, let's punch that train. Yes. Good thing we turned the power on. Okay, you can see me pause for a moment and try to remember how this fight goes. I did not get to the point where I felt like I had all the encounters memorized here. And that's me remembering a place that I found that seems a good spot for a BFG shot. It worked really well for me in my last run, so I'm going to use it again here. I always try to take out the Dread Knights as quick as possible. I swear in this DLC they're even more of a threat than they used to be. But that's probably just psychology or something. So I think... Okay, we gotta kill a little bit more stuff. Here I'm going to use the BFG. This should take care of a cursed prowler that spawns in as well, which is always nice to do that with the BFG, so that you don't have to actually deal with them. Use the hammer to make the Marauder a lot easier. Yeah, that BFG definitely speeds up this fight a lot. So I think that's one of the most optimized BFG shots that I have in this run. I always have to remember where to go here.
Attention to maintenance team. Please report to gate of debut operation.
So this is meant to be just a fun room. And now that you have the upgrade to the hammer, you can get so much health and armor. Although, I would say don't do what I just did and use your ice bomb for fun there. Use the ice bomb when the two mancubi spawn in, because yeah, you can see the way I fight them. It's kind of sloppy. This would have looked a lot better if I had frozen them. The good news is that you have hammer ammo galore. I didn't see that stupid zombie. Okay, here I paused, I think to get some water or something. I edited that part out. I was paused for like a minute. As I'm realizing that this is actually a good run and not a garbage run where I die to something stupid early on, I'm starting to try to keep my armor topped off after basically every encounter. Yeah, all the power is shut down, but for some reason these like our automatic underwater fireball turret system is still working. Good to know. Yeah, try to get some armor and health laid down here for this possessed pinky. Makes it a lot less stressful. I don't know how I took it out so quickly here. Usually does not go that fast. If that possessed pinky stresses you out, you could also use a BFG there, I think. Sure, you could probably afford that. Remembered I gotta turn the power on.
Attention. Power activated for city subsection.
This arena can actually be a little bit stressful. Destroyer Blade helps a lot right there to take out some people, but the Bloodmaker can provide some pressure, and it's just kind of an awkward geometry for me. Super shotgunning that guy. Dash smash, MVP, easy. The hammer, also MVP. It can be really good in some situations, but like I said, I don't like to use it when I'm really under pressure. I'd rather pull out the chain gun shield and dash away, because you don't get any invincibility frames with the hammer, and first couple times I tried Ultra Nightmare on Tag 2, I was just learning how to use the hammer, and I definitely had at least one death where it was like a mid-hammer animation death. it can be really frustrating. I think what happened is I came down. There was a Dread Knight that was jumping around, and I came down on his AoE damage, his little orange lightning that he puts on the ground, and I was just toast. That guy surprised me. And he is immune to the hammer, as we see time and time again. Another reason to not rely too much on the hammer in Ultra Nightmare. Also try to jump better than me. Clearly I am like terrible at these jumping puzzles on this playthrough. Here's an optional BFG. Just trivializes this little room. I'm sure there's an easy way to make it through that room without using a BFG, but why go through the trouble? That's stuff to sort out after you get the skin. Then you try the fun experimental things.
This is an automated alert. The gate of Divun is offline. Please reschedule further testing until power has been restored.
How is the intercom still working if power hasn't been restored? Like, we have to turn on all these switches to power the punchable trains and stuff, but the intercom works, the underwater fireball turrets still work. Also, it's a bit odd that the power doesn't seem to be like the grid isn't down. Someone just turned it off. You just have to flip a switch. It's a weird post-apocalyptic situation. Curse Prowler, that was just luck. I had no idea where he spawns. I just remember that he shows up in this fight somewhere. The only other tricky part of this fight is, not yet, but at some point an Archvile spawns. I always forget when exactly. Ah, right, I think it's after you take out the possessed Mancubus. Guy is dodging my lock-on rockets like it's no problem. There's a good way to use the hammer in Ultra Nightmare just to get a lot of armor from random non-threatening demons. It can be super helpful. It can be risky to try to use in tight situations, but it is great for refilling resources. There's the Archvile. Sometimes here, I guess he must have a variable spawn, because I know that sometimes he, or maybe he just moves, but I've found him kind of hiding in a corner somewhere. So be on the lookout for him. The hammer is a great way to take him out quickly if you don't have an ice bomb ready. If you don't have either, you can always lay down a frag grenade and that gives you enough time to hit him with at least one lock-on burst. And you should be able to get enough damage in to kill him after that. Okay, Reclaimed Earth done. There's certainly a couple tough arenas on this map, but I think as long as you remember the Cursed Prowlers, and you just have a, just be careful in these arena fights, don't do anything too stupid, you should be okay. Here I'm backtracking to get a BFG shot. Yeah. This is my first Ultra Nightmare success run, so I really want to have all my BFG shots, and don't want it to be any harder than it needs to be. It's already kind of hard. But yeah, you have to backtrack really far to get to this because of like a one-way door that you go through at some point.
The Gate of Divoom. The only way into the most ancient part of hell.
Yeah, this is the only way into the most ancient part of hell. Somehow all your friends and family will meet you there, but that's fine. This is the only way. Alright, so here we are at level 3. The final countdown. I don't think this level is too hard, and I felt really bad for dying on it the first 2 times I got here. I died both times in the first arena. I recommend watching just enough of this cutscene to get pumped and to, cool your jets from the last level. Get ready to fight.
If the Dark Lord is defeated in ritual combat, any demon outside his realm will be destroyed.
Already you can see the pressure of having died early in this level. My past run is getting to me. Almost went to low health from these fodder guys. And I forgot about that Revenant. Again, the hammer does not daze him. I think I was trying to farm armor from the fodder back in the previous part, and I had probably forgotten about this entire little section with the tentacles. You do probably want to farm armor to make sure that, if you lost any health like an idiot already in this level, as I have, go into the first arena feeling good, feeling like your best self. I can feel my nervousness just watching this replay since I died here the previous time. I even stopped to check what rune I have out. By the way, I've switched to using Equipment Fiend at this point. it is probably a little more helpful under pressure than savagery. Sometimes you can get the super shotgun kills on the Maker drones, but it doesn't always work, so don't go in for that without a backup, and don't do it if you're low on resources. For once the hammer works, that's good. Yeah, this is a somewhat high-stress arena. A lot of snakes. I just passed by my death marker. This is probably not an optimized BFG. There's probably a better way to use that in this fight. But this is certainly a good fight to use a BFG in. You've got a lot of snakes, you got your Doom Hunters. I just don't know when the best time to use it is. Okay, for me, once the two Barons spawn and there's two Caco demons, you just gotta watch out for the Cacos and take care of them quickly, but the hard part of this fight is over, I think. Meant to switch to a ballista there. Dash smash, always killing it. There you see an example of one of the most important things in Ultra Nightmare runs, I think probably the most important skill, which is don't obsess over one enemy. I wanted to kill that carcass, and he got behind a shield. When something like that happens and there's people coming up on you from behind, just leave. Go do something else. If you start to fixate on one enemy in Ultra Nightmare, unless it's something that really demands your attention, you end up losing track of your surroundings and putting yourself at risk.
You'll need to get over those walls to continue the assault.
Thanks for the warning. I got the warning before I even got the completed notification. Okay, looks like I took a breather. I must have been checking my phone or something, but I was feeling good to be past this encounter. Now I have to think, because this is my first time on Ultra Nightmare, making it past that encounter. Though I've obviously played through this level a few times by now. I think you can just run past some of these guys, but it makes me nervous that they'll follow me from behind, so... trying to remember what I want to have equipped in the order of the fights. I remember that eventually there are those riot soldiers, remember their name, and of course you want the remote detonate for them, but they're not for a little bit, so. There's also some pain elementals coming up that I remember, and Arbalest is always good to have equipped for them. Good way to start a fight is just laying down a nice pool of armor. Start out by wrecking these guys with the dash smash. And there's these pain elementals I was talking about. Say hi to the dragon. That didn't go so well. I walked off the edge and it wouldn't let me get back up. I don't know about that out of range. It seemed like it was in range to me. But that's okay, because I can just get all my armor. Here, my microwave beam really did not want to target the spirit, so we gotta do the possessed Hell Knight twice. But that's okay. 2 lock-on bursts takes them out. If you can remember to do it, this is a good part to make sure you have your hammer full. I obviously did not do this, but the next major fight is the double marauders with the screechers, and I certainly like to use a hammer right at the start of that fight to take out the first marauder. But I won't be able to here because I don't think there's any way to get hammer ammo from these red clowns here. They die to anything, of course. A little slow there. The pressure is getting to me. You can get some armor from them with the meat hook. For whatever reason, flame belching them just kills them and does not drop armor. But the meat hook both instantly kills them and gives you 20 armor shards. This time, I almost fuck it up again, but I don't. Okay, so it's time for the Marauder fight. Here I'm thinking about what rune I want to use. Don't really need Equipment Fiend anymore, and I decide this is a good time to throw on Saving Throw for probably the rest of this map. Might as well. You get that one free death. Okay, so right away, I like to start this out with a BFG, basically straight up. This will tend to do some damage to the Marauders. I picked up that hammer, and you'll see this guy goes down with just 1 lock-on burst after the hammer's daze. And that's because he had already taken some damage from the BFG shot. It's not essential, but it's a nice way to speed up the fight a bit. You can sometimes kill both of them without this Baron spawning in, but if it does spawn in, it's not a big deal. Just stay on the move. Also, if you accidentally kill one of the Screechers with shotgun pellets or something, it's not, you know, the end of the world. When you do that here, just meat hook around, stay away from the dog and the Marauder, obviously, and use the monkey bars. Remember, while you don't want to shoot the Screechers, you can meat hook off them. So in some practice playthroughs of this level, before I was on Ultra Nightmare, I did hit the Screechers by accident, and I did not find that usually made me die. Their buff doesn't last too long, so when it does happen, you just want to stay mobile for a while and just play defense. The Marauders, like, don't try to kill them while they're Screecher buffed. They're super tanky. You can hit them with, like, you know, the hammer and then 3 lock-on bursts and they still don't die. So yeah, if you do hit the Screecher, just run around. Bloodfield is super good because you can chainsaw the non-Screecher fodder and get a speed boost to just stay out of the way with. Okay, time to explode some of the civilians of hell. There's a bunch of chainsaw pips lying around here. It can be nice to go into the last big arena fight with 3 chainsaw pips. You'll have lots of things you could use that on for a nice free kill on a heavy demon. There's a hammer over here that I 100% did not need. Easy peasy. The dash smash takes him out. I think those turrets blocked my lock-on burst. That was unfortunate. Good opportunity for a D-blade. Now I've got my 3 chainsaw pips. That guy's kind of stuck in a wall. And if you come up around this corner, there's going to be an invisible snake. You can use the D-blade if you time it pretty well, and these guys are toast. Then one more armored baron. Again, chain gun shield with the dash smash is more than enough to take him out in one cycle. Almost ready for the last arena. But there is a BFG ammo that we can pick up here. I like to go into the final boss, the Dark Lord, with 2 BFG shots. I'll show you why when we get to that fight. It's not essential though. I wasn't sure what triggered this guy to spawn, and I wanted to D-blade him, so I just kind of stood there for a second. Okay. One more big arena fight, and then the final boss, and we are done with Ultra Nightmare. Skip the cutscene, and I try to get some armor from these guys right away. A cursed prowler is going to spawn on the left pretty quickly, so take him out ASAP. got stuck there for a second. I personally don't think this is one of the harder arenas. Right now I'm waiting for a Bloodmaker to spawn, because I know it happens eventually, but I don't know what the trigger is. There he is. So you can do something fun with this Bloodmaker that I'm gonna try, which is if you use the hammer to daze the Bloodmakers, and you have 3 chainsaw pips, you can actually chainsaw them. Doesn't come up that often. So I'm gonna go for it here, and the game denies me. It just doesn't want to let me have fun. I've never had that problem before. Usually you can just walk up to them and chainsaw them once they're dazed. And it's cool because you don't get to see that animation very often. So yeah, they give us a free BFG here. Really, there's lots of BFGs in this level. I don't have the feeling that I need it in this arena, but I use it as soon as I see the Possessed Barons show up, because Possessed Barons are definitely a threat. So it's nice to clear out all the other enemies. Of course, for possessed enemies, lock-on burst is one of the best ways to deal out damage. One of the things that they are least resistant to. Again, my microwave beam targeting does not want to work. But this time we get the spirit. I actually tried and found that you cannot get that spirit to possess the armored baron, no matter what you do, unless I got unlucky. Which is a shame, because I would have loved to see a possessed armored baron. So my health went low here, so I do what you should always do. Put on a chain gun shield and eat a blueberry. Now I'm back at full health. This cutscene is mandatory viewing because it's cool. once again. Dash smash. MVP.
You're approaching the Dark Lord Sanctum. Starting to lose my connection, though. Doomslayer, sir. I won't be able to...
And we are ready for the final boss. There's really no point to the weak point rune here anymore. But I, after some debate, decided to put Savagery back on. For my usual strategy with the Dark Lord, you will see that I really make use of Savagery, especially in the final phases. But I was a little nervous taking off the saving throw, so I had to think about it for a second. Here I stopped for a moment because I realized that I had the spooky ambient map music playing in the background. There's of course a bug where sometimes that just keeps playing forever in the background. I don't really like it. I debated resetting just to get rid of it, but we're too close to finishing. We've got to push on. No more skipping the cutscenes. It's the final showdown.
You bring violence and war to thwart the Dark Realm. But conflict was born in Hell. It is inevitable. A fire that fuels creation and gives purpose where there is none.
Right away I forgot that I don't have any hammer ammo, and I have to get some. I like to use the micro missiles to take out the dogs sometimes. And for the Dark Lord, I try to hit him with a ballista and a super shotgun before I drop the hammer, then light him up with lock-on rockets. Also, I should drop a grenade here, but I think I forgot. When I look to the left, I just messed up my weapon switch. So you can see that with this strategy, we can take him down in 2 cycles pretty reliably in each phase, as long as we don't lose any health that he picks up from us. And you can actually lose a little. Here I mess up the switch to the rockets, but I make up for it with a blood punch. You can also get those in on him for some quick extra damage. 2 glory kills to refill the hammer, and then by hammering a flaming enemy, you can usually take out the dogs and get all your resources back. The chainsaw I'm generally using just to get the speed boost. Yeah, when you don't have the hammer ready, the micro missiles are a great way to deal with the dogs.
For too long have I been imprisoned by my own creations. You will not stop my vengeance, nor the one who betrayed
He is the first being, and my creator. When he fell, I ascended.
They lied to you, Slayer. Immora and its people would have been perfect, if not for the treachery of my servants. They sealed me away, stole my power and name. And now, the time has come for a reckoning. As all things were made by my hand, so shall they be unmade, starting with you.
Okay, so our hammer refills at the start of this phase. And since he's now going to be summoning the Hell Knight, it's really best to use the hammer to take out the dogs and the Hell Knight simultaneously. Though you can still use the micro missiles, they're also decent against the Hell Knight. So here you see me refilling my hammer with glory kills. This is where savagery and blood fuel both help a lot. Light up the guy to make sure I get armor and take out everything. You can use the BFG to just get rid of those things. Obviously that'll only work a couple of times. So if he spawns them in a bunch, you're gonna need to probably hammer them. Chainsaw to get some speed. Glory kill to refill the hammer. That didn't work. That did not work either, so I gotta use the micro missiles. And you can see it's not so bad. Don't try to use micro missiles on the big demons if he spawns them, but it works well on the dogs and the Hell Knight. I got a little lucky with him not spawning in a bunch of the heavy orange guys, but if he does, you can take out at least like 3 of them with a hammer, and then just go back to refilling the hammer. And we're done. I don't even want to talk during the cutscene, it's just fun to watch.
Before you strike him down. No.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I love this ending. if you listen really hard, you can still hear in the background some of that spooky ambient map music. But it doesn't really matter because we are done. Ultra Nightmare completed. For this we get the Skullface skin. It's basically a personification of the Ultra Nightmare logo itself. I think that's a neat idea. Even if it's not my absolute favorite skin, it is certainly a cool trophy, and I'm glad to have it. The next thing for me is to get the gold maker skin for Ancient Gods Part 1. That's the only thing in the game currently that I haven't completed on Ultra Nightmare, and it's largely because I am scared of the final boss fight. I have a hard time with Samur. But that's for another video. I hope you enjoyed this playthrough, and maybe that it helps someone who wants to play through this on Ultra Nightmare. And that's the video. Cheers.